Shalom Tetzipi Hotovely, Israel's ambassador to the UK.
Hello from London.
So first of all, on the diplomatic level, the UK is standing with Israel.
I think the UK support never been stronger. We see from the first day of the war. I need to share with the people how much the close cooperation between Israel and the UK was there from the first day of the war. So Prime Minister Sunak made the decision to support Israel. He came to one of the main synagogues here in London in the second day of the war, to Kinloss Synagogue in the center of London, together with me and the chief rabbi. And he was delivering one of the most pro-Israeli speech was ever heard here. And he said, I will stand with you today. I will stand with you tomorrow. I will stand with you always. And I think the message behind it was very clear. It's so easy to support Israel at the 7th of October, at the 8th of October. But the problem is, this is how public diplomacy usually works, that the media starts asking hard questions about the military actions in Gaza, and then you lose the international support. And what the British Prime Minister basically was saying, no, I'm here for standing with Israel for a long time, for ongoing campaign against Hamas, because they understand the complexity of it when we're fighting a terror organization. We saw Foreign Secretary Cleverly with his clear declarations, both in the media and in the UN. And he was the one who came to Israel before the war and said, Israel's security is our security. So he made it very clear how close ally the UK is for Israel. And many people don't know, but after the US, the UK shares with Israel on security and intelligence. Our cooperation on those fields is incredible. And the UK is giving us assistance as well and support when it comes to the Royal Air Force sending their intelligence abilities to help Israel in this war. And intelligence is a major part of a war, as we know. So this is part of the British help and support, including in the Security Council in the UN, that this is where the clock is ticking. You know, when we start a war, we always say there is a ticking clock. So normally it's in the Security Council of the UN. So I need the people to know that they have a friend here in London, which is the British people, the British government, and the British Parliament, which means the opposition is standing with Israel as well. And we just heard today the head of the opposition, Keir Starmer, says is against a ceasefire, because then Hamas won't be dismantled and his capabilities will be in the same way. So what's better will come from this type of behavior.
Now, you mentioned the leadership, you mentioned the people, but when it comes to the media, BBC, of course, for example, that's a different ballgame. Very, very challenging.
So first of all, the campaign against BBC not naming terrorists in their names is an ongoing campaign. It didn't start just in the war. We started a campaign before the war on any terror attack on Israelis. We don't want them to use the term gunmen or anything similar, because we know the difference, and there is a major difference. And this was a campaign the embassy was leading for a long while, including, by the way, meetings with senior people in the BBC, explaining them why this is not the way impartial reporting should look like. And in the war, it became actually a big issue here, how the BBC reports on this. And I can tell you that many people protested against the BBC here in London, and they wanted the BBC to stand behind its ethical, code. I mean, there is ethical journalism code. And I think the peak of that was when the hospital case came out and when Israel was, blamed automatically. And now what we are saying when we go to the media, we say, Hamas is using you. The Western media is so easy to blame Israel, is so going fast to, first of all, to say the Palestinians are the weak side in this conflict and will support it. And this reflection of this bias must be stopped. And this was part of Israel's fighting after the hospital issue, not just about clarifying the facts about the hospital, the fact it was Islamic Jihad rocket, but also to say, you need to be in charge of the information comes in a wartime, because you have responsibility here. So I was going to the media, I'm saying, don't be a tool game in the hands of Hamas.
And in addition to all that, there's the pro-Palestinian protests and the rise in anti-Semitism.
I think many people here in the UK feel that this is the same jihadi ideology, that some people are, when they're saying jihad in the streets of London, and when they're saying from London to Gaza intifada, they mean something that is very scary to most of the British people. Of course, the Jewish community is very much concerned about it. But let me tell you my angle to that as a diplomat. Actually, it's easier to explain to the people that this is not a conflict between, it's not about territory, it's not about land. This is the same ideology that Al-Qaeda had when it attacked the Americans in 9/11. It's the same ideology that ISIS led, and this is why the coalition, led by the Americans, had to fight back in Iraq and Syria. And this is the same barbarism that it was attacking innocent Israeli children and women and men in the 7th of October. So we're actually putting the West together with Israel as fighting a civilization war. Civilization against barbarism and against radical terrorism that Hamas presented, and it showed its real face. So people cannot anymore say, this is the conflict, you should have done more. Israel did so much, and I think nowadays most of Israelis are saying we were wrong in understanding the intentions of our enemy and understanding its ideology. It's not about, having a good life in Gaza. That was never the case, because Hamas used all the international support to build an underground terror city instead of taking care of the people of Gaza. And this is what we show to the world, including, we show the videos coming from the Gaza Strip. Just this week, we're going to do a briefing to all the top journalists here in the UK to give them, information that wasn't exposed before about what happened in the 7th of October. So this is our job as embassy, to bring the Israeli truth, but also to connect it to the values of the West. And the values are here in London, that people that care about free society and free country that can stay a democratic country, you need to fight radicalism.
So is there a fear that the situation is becoming worse?
So the government is very, very strict to say we are going to fight people that support hate crimes. And I think today there is a big debate here. What's the best way to do that? And you hear also the debate in Europe in general about from the river to the sea expressions, about people that are coming to protest with Palestinian flags on one hand, but it's after Hamas massacre. So there is a big debate of how to deal with it on a legal basis. But there is one thing, there is no doubt, when you're shouting jihad, it's a clear hate crime. And this is where I think those people need to be in court.
So you're saying that the UK authorities are acting?
I know they're doing their best in order to act against it. And I know the Home Office Secretary, who's a dear friend of Israel, made a clear statements about it. And I hope on a legal basis, they can do whatever it takes in order to make sure that those type of hate crimes won't be in the streets of London.
Okay, Tzipi Hotovely, Israel's ambassador to the UK. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you very much.